You put in your login. It will save it if you tell it to. And then you don't have to remember it all the time. The password doesn't expire nearly as much as in our system. Just so you know, you won't have to change that password very often. So you'll come into this. It looks like this is the profile page. So the first thing, there's not much to set up. Most of it's already set up. You'll come over here to the edit button. When you hover over this gear, that word will show up. And then it allows you to, there'll be a little blue picture here, and it'll allow you to upload a picture. And then you'll just scroll down and you'll verify your information here. Where this little red asterisk is, this is the most important email, because that is the email that the notification is going to come to when a borrower completes the report. The information on the phone number, that is the phone number that is going to, that the borrowers will be able to see and contact you at. If you say generating credits, that's, I'll show you as we go. But most of the time that'll say no. So you make sure that your NMLS number is there, and Seth, as the admin for this, you will make sure that their login is already on there before they officially get in. So you won't be able to change this information here. It will already be set up for you. The Credit Technologies login must be entered in advance to getting in, because that is the login that the borrowers are going to pull the credit under. And if you don't put that in correctly, then you won't have access to that report. So if you ever get a notification that somebody completed and you go to pull that report up and it doesn't show up, then you have to call us. We'll get that fixed for you. So the only thing on here that you really have to change, you have to upload your picture, and then this should all be correct for you. You want to put in your licensing information and then an About Me section. And again, these are all suggested areas. You don't have to. You can leave it exactly the way it is. Once you've entered those, you go back up and hit save, and you're done setting up your profile. Everything is done for you. You'll scroll back down underneath the About Me section. This right here, this blue hyperlink here, this URL is your link for Mortgage Preflight. You can click on it. This is in the site, it's an active, it's already ready for you. So if you don't put a picture in, this will be blank. And this information is already in there for you. We put it in. That's why we just ask you to verify it. And then the More section is where your About Me section would be. So you can go ahead and you can leave that blank if you want. Once you've done that, this is what the borrowers are seeing of you personally. Each one of you will get your own link, your own profile page. So then you'll scroll down, and the borrowers will then start entering their information here. Then they enter their payment information. They can add additional information in regards to, the type of loan, especially if this is coming from a realtor, then you would not know what they're looking for. This just gives you a little more information. They may or may not fill that out. If they're connected with a realtor, they can put their information in there if they didn't come in through a realtor site, which I will show you the difference in a minute. Then down here, they must click that they've read and agree to all the authorization to verify, to pulling their credit, gives them all the information here of what's going on, and then they hit next. When they hit next, that's when they're going to go ahead and start getting the verification questions from the bureaus. Those questions are specific credit information questions, just like if they were going out to the bureaus to pull their own credit report, they're going to get the same questions. So they are going to get questions so if they don't know their credit history, they may have some trouble with those questions. If they do and they get unable to verify authenticity or verify identity, they may contact you and, you're kind of going to be up in the air. Well, that's okay. You can direct them to talk to me. I'm happy to answer questions, for if they weren't able to, finish this. I'll kind of troubleshoot with them. More than happy to take those calls. But I can't go over anything on the actual report. So if they did 100%, get through and pass all those questions and you got notified, if they got a report, then I can't go over anything on the report with them. Only you can. But I can answer your questions if you call me. So if you guys if you have a borrower who has questions on something that came up on the report, write down their questions. You can shoot me an email or you can just let me know what it is. So this is what the borrowers are seeing if they come in directly from your link. What you would do is you're going to have a button. We have different logos. Some look just like this. Some say pre-qualify now. You can put something that looks just like this on your email, your website, so forth, and then you'll hyperlink the URL so it hides it behind it. And I can walk you through if you have any questions. You're not sure how that works. I walk everybody through setting up their profile and making sure that their button is working. So now we have a couple of different things to show you. So there are down here, if you saw, this is the hosted page that we will host for you. We keep the URL working and we make sure that the borrowers can pull credit there. If you want it embedded so it's not opening another tab when they go to your website and they're not leaving your website to do mortgage pre-flight, there is the embedded option. You would have to go through profile and add Preflight to my website. So if you have your own website and you want to do it, you can. You're going to get the iframe width and height. It's going to generate you a code, and then you just you check the boxes for the sections that you want on there. And you can do that. But if for some reason there is something it's not working, and our side is working correctly, unfortunately, we don't do a lot of technical support once you leave our site, just so you have the heads up. We'll do our best, but we can't do a lot of troubleshooting on somebody else's webpage. The next section, so that is an option if you are if you have a website designer and you want to use that. That's how you do it. This section here under invite, as of right now, everybody on this call except for Seth is going to just see partner and consumer. Partner is realtors, builders. You send them an email invite just like you're going to get. It's going to look almost identical to what you got. And all you do, you scroll down here. It says partner info. You don't have to put in their company name if you don't know it. The required fields are the first and last name and an email address. And then you'll hit preview. I'm going to show you, or you can send it directly to a consumer. So if you have a consumer on the phone, you want them to do this, you don't want to send them out to your website, you can just send them. So we're going to go ahead and send me an invite. So this is what it's going to look like. It shows it's coming from Logan, or you in this case. It's going to me, and it is an invitation. It says you're invited. And it says, start pre-qualifying now. That's what your borrower is going to see. And if it's a realtor, it's going to say complete registration now. So then you're going to click on that. They're going to get this. So you see exactly what you're sending them. You click on invite and it will email them directly to that email. And then they'll go ahead and they'll hit that. All of your realtors that you send this out to, if they have any they have any questions about setting up their profile, just like you're getting this demo right now, I do the same thing for anybody else who wants to be walked through, no problem. So don't worry, you're not required to walk anybody else through this. You just give them my name and my phone number. I'll be happy to do it. And explain to them what mortgage pre-flight is also. So then that's the invite. So Seth, you're going to be able to send out an invite to each one of your loan officers within your company using users. We really only want one person within the company, maybe two, to be able to send those out so you can keep track of, back down here, who's using it. And usually we only have one admin. When you do a user, though, there is a few extra things that you have to send out. You have to have their name, first, last, email, the NMLS, and the CR login, which is the Credit Technologies login. You do not have to put a phone number unless you want to. They can put in their own phone number, but you have to put in these two things. Otherwise, when they get in there, it won't send that report anywhere. And then you'll hit preview just like on the other ones. Marketing's not currently an active field, and that is related with the ratings, reviews, and testimonials. Those are not options that are turned on at this point. They may be turned on later. But under View Manage, you'll be able to keep track of your partners. Once they've accepted the email and registered, they will show up down here. Otherwise, they will show as under Partner. When you send it out initially, it'll show up under pending invitations, and it'll be sitting there. And then you can see your partner requests. So if a realtor or a builder sends you an invitation to link with them, then you may see partner requests. So that's all there is to Mortgage Preflight. That's all there is for your side. Now I am going to show you one other. So if you send an invitation to a realtor and they accept it, they put in a login, they set up a login and password, they are then going to get to be able to set up a profile. Looks identical to you. This is Shanna. She is a realtor. She is with Keller Williams. And Logan Neal, just so you know, he's a real loan officer too, authorized us to go ahead and use him as our test person, has no problem. You can even contact him using that information that you saw a minute ago. He'd be happy to tell you all about his experience. So Shanna has her picture here. She set up, made sure that all of her information is there, put her About Me section in, and then again, this is her link. So we can click here. You would ultimately see she has a button that looks just like what your button would look like, but when the borrowers click on it, they see her face. Even if you're connected to her and her borrower goes and clicks on her Preflight button, they're going to see her. They're going to see her information. They can do her more. But here's where it's a little different than what if they come in through you. This is where the borrower has to choose a loan officer to work with, a referring partner. So they would go ahead and they check the box next to it and they scroll down, and then any realtors can connect with as many or as few loan officers as they so choose. So, Leila, the Mortgage Preflight is free to all Credit Technologies customers, so you automatically have this. The reports are the exact same amount as what you're paying for your reports now. So the borrowers will pay identically to what you're already paying, because we can't charge them differently depending on how they're getting their report. So it's exactly the same coming in through a realtor site as it is coming through your site, just that they have to pick that loan officer. And if you give me just 1 second, I'm going to tell you exactly how much, no matter if it's an individual or a joint. So, so that way, if you've got a couple, it's always better to have them come in and do Mortgage Preflight together than it is to have them go in individually, because it's more, time sensitive, for them. It's easier. But honestly, if they do it, then they're going to save a little money that way. But it is exactly the same price as what you're spending right now. So that is all there is to Mortgage Preflight. And in most cases, what we tell our clients is we're not expecting you to change how you're doing business right now. That's not the expectation, although you can. Some of our clients exclusively use Mortgage Preflight for all of their borrowers. They send them the link. They're connected with realtors, and that's where all of their reports are coming in to offset their costs. Of course, you can change to do that. But a lot of our clients are just using this for those referrals coming directly from the realtors. The realtors have the ability to, you can place this button wherever you want it, but realtors can actually attach it in a corner of the listing, pre-qualify now. They can, so that they get borrowers that are out on, just surfing on their site, looking at listings, and they can go ahead and get their 3 mortgage credit scores right then and there. So the borrower is going to get that credit radar page, that very first page that when you pull the credit report, that's all they're getting. There's 3 scores. It'll show them plus points if they're available, but they don't have any way to find out how to get those points without contacting you as the loan officer. So as soon as the borrower gets that credit radar page, there's an email going out to you as the loan officer. In that email, it is giving you a credit technology file number, which you would log into our site and pull up on our website so you can initially see it. You will be able to upload it into your system, but until you have them entered into your 1003, it won't officially attach. So the easiest way, initially, go ahead and pull that report up on our website, take a look at it. And the reason I say that is a lot of the stuff that sometimes comes in through the Mortgage Preflight is scores that are a little below what might get them a loan right now. But don't forget, the Credit Technology Score Express team will go ahead and do a free file review and tell you what that borrower needs to do to get that score up to whatever it is you're looking for if the points are available. And then you can ask the borrower, you can contact them back and say, hey, I've reviewed and, here's where we would need to address, and then we can move forward. So you're not out of pocket a single dime yet. And hopefully that borrower does what you asked him to and comes back. Authorization at the bottom of the page, when the borrower, I didn't mean to click out of that. So when the borrower goes into right here, this is their I authorize, in this case, it's Nations Reliable Lending because that's who the loan officer is through. This is their authorization to pull that credit, and it will send you a form that it's a letter more or less in the email. It's going to give you the questions that they verified their credit, their authenticity. It shows that they authorized this credit pull. They're authorizing their credit card to be used. So that's what all of this is. So that seems to be what we're running into. A lot of these borrowers, they're a little nervous to be handing out their credit information, and this is a secured site that once the information is put in, it's not being shared to everybody, and it's not just being written down on a piece of paper for a loan officer to type in. Most of the time, there's less errors in entering. Now we know that some of our borrowers don't always put in the right information. Well, unfortunately, that's on them then, and that's something that we can't account for if they don't put in the right name or the right address or whatever. So, but it is a credit pull, so hopefully they do know enough to get that credit to pull. So one of the questions, cost for reissuing. So this is essentially the full, when the borrower pulls the credit at $35.50, it's the same as when you pull it, and there are no reissue fees. You are on an inclusive pricing plan. So the only costs that you would be associated with after the initial pull of the credit report, whether you pull it or it comes in through Mortgage Preflight, those only prices would be rescoring costs. Supplements are included in that. File reviews are included in that. Reissuing costs are included. Be able to pull it into your Calyx point system, but you can't actually upload it into Calyx Point until you have the information, the borrower's information on your 1003 set up. So initially you'll have to pull it up on our website so you can get that information to enter into your 1003, because it's not going to do the application process. Yeah. So, well, the Credit Technologies file number, the credit report number, you'll have that. But my understanding is that to actually do a reissue existing in Calyx Point, the information has to be on the 1003 for it to upload. When you pull it through Calyx, initially, you've already put that information in so that it knows what to pull. So it's essentially as if you had pulled it out on our website, and then you have to go back and enter that information. It's easier if you'll have the basics for the borrower in your email that comes to you. You're going to have that borrower's name and the file number. And then when you open up the file on Credit Technologies website, it's going to give you the full credit report. It'll show you their name, their address. When you open the report itself to view it, it'll show you their social and their birth date and all of that they entered in order to go ahead and enter it into your Calyx Point.
I've got somebody live on the phone. They fill out the app this way. They don't want to give me their social over the phone. They go to the website. This is great. You're going to send me an email anyway. Am I still going to have to log into your website to get whatever I need to import it into Point? Or if I already have their name, their address, their phone number, everything else except for their social, because this is what we're trying to avoid. Don't tell me your social. Just do it online. Can I just do it from the information in the email, or am I going to still have to go to your website to pull information?
So your 1003, I believe, has to match the name, address, social, and date of birth. It has to match for you to be able to import it into Calyx Point. So I don't want to say, oh yeah, you can absolutely just go ahead and attach it. Instead of doing a new report as your order method, you'll choose reissue existing if the file's already been pulled. I don't want to say, oh yeah, you'll have no problem, because if you don't have that social, it probably isn't going to attach to the 1003. I do want to let you know that sometimes it can take the borrowers about 15 to 20 minutes to answer those questions, to get from when they initially start entering their information to the time they pass the questions, all 5. They must pass 5 questions from the bureaus. If they fail one, it will give them an alternative one. If they fail 2 in a row, I can't remember if it's the second one or the third one, but it will give them an alternative question. I think on the third one, it will then stop them and say, unfortunately, you didn't pass. I believe it's 3 strikes and you're out. So it'll give them alternative questions. But after that, so if they go ahead and they miss the very first question, gives them 2 alternatives, they pass that second time, or then they move on. But then they start another question and they fail again. It is possible that it will kick them out and say, unfortunately, we're not able to verify because on the 3rd strike, you're out. Examples of the questions that it is going to have are specifically from the credit bureau. Did you have a loan with GM Financial between 2015 and 2017? Yes or no? What color car did you finance through, whatever auto, Wells Fargo auto, and sometimes they'll give a year. So you have to be able to specify your personal credit history in order to answer these questions. And I know that every one of us here who works with Mortgage Preflight has initially failed the questions. So it does happen. I had no idea how hard those questions were going to be, because it'll go back 7 full years. And so the questions, the authenticity questions, are the questions that the bureaus require for us to use this so that the borrowers can authenticate themselves, proving that they are who they say they are, and to initiate that credit pull. That was part of the process that allows us to not have you as the loan officer personally pulling it, but this is part of that verification process to allow this program to work. One of the other aspects that we really like is that security feature, because not only does somebody just enter in a name, an address, and a social and a date of birth, they have to verify that they are who they say they are by verifying their personal history. So this is a safety feature for you to, they are who they say they are, because not just anybody's going to be able to answer those questions, but realtors really like that because it's a safety feature. They know who they're sending out in the car. And that was part of what I did forget to say. When you're getting the notification that the borrower has completed and you're getting a file number, the realtor, if they came in through a realtor, it gives them their name, address, and contact information for that borrower. So they have a sticky sheet. They have something that shows this is who I'm showing houses to, and they are who they say they are. Because it's a scary world, and taking people in your car to show them houses who you're not real sure on, it makes it a scary world. And this guarantees that who they say they are is for real. Right here, it'll say, will this be a joint co-borrower? You say yes, and it'll ask for the co-borrower information. Yes, and then the same thing with the length of time at this address. I don't know if you guys have ever run into this, but sometimes if they've been at their address just a short time, it's not actually going to pull all of their information because the bureaus haven't updated it yet. The bureaus are not always correct, and we all know this. So sometimes the wrong address. So if they've been at their address for less than 2 years, we definitely want to put a prior address down, and this allows them to do that. So they really have to pay attention. We don't want any of our borrowers to feel rushed and that they need to hurry through all of this information because they could miss a step. And, we want to make sure that we're going to get what we need back from the bureaus. Now, the stipulation for having it a joint file, just like on our website or through your Calyx point, if it's a joint file, they must live at the same address, because it is only going to give the address option for the primary person, and the co-borrower must live at the same address. If they don't have the same address for them, or if they have just recently moved in together, we would want them to do it separately to ensure that all of their information got pulled. All right. I hope everybody has an awesome rest of the afternoon.